2021 was by far the hardest year of my life. I spent so much time doing things that didn't serve me, I isolated myself, and I stalled my self-growth because I got so burnt out. But through that tough time, I learned 21 lessons I wish someone would have told me a year ago. Normal people take normal actions that get normal results. It took me a while to accept this one. Honestly, I've had a lot of people in my life tell me to be more normal, and I didn't always perceive it as being less than myself. I've always encouraged people to be super authentic. There's this pressure to do what everyone else is doing. I think sometimes you forget that when you do what everyone else is doing, you end up living like everyone else is living. Constantly reinvent yourself. Let's say you're a computer software. You should be having your updates like at least every single month. Honestly, I think reinventing yourself is what makes life so freaking fun. When you change, it doesn't matter if your external circumstances don't change because you see everything differently. And what constantly reinventing yourself means is to question what you value in your beliefs. Make sure you are reading the best of the best books. Books have literally changed my life, but I think this year especially I learned that I cannot just read books. I have to make sure I'm reading good books. After I got through my first 10 self-help books, they all start to kind of say the same message. So recently, I honestly just use short form. It's like a book summary platform. I'm literally not sponsored. I just literally read book summaries like every day. I only read a book if I genuinely kind of disagree with the topic and I just want to be convinced. The pressure to be a well-rounded person actually stunts growth and opportunity. I think sometimes when you focus on your weaknesses so much, you start to extract your strengths. Sometimes your strengths are what make you a unique person. So as long as your weaknesses aren't like harmful to yourself and other people, it's okay to be kind of like rough in some areas. When you let go of the pressure of being well-rounded, you will literally feel so much freedom. Immediate action followed by immediate failure actually creates results. I've seen this happen so much in my life when it comes to literally studying to like doing YouTube stuff. Is sometimes I plan way too much. I have all these like New Year goals that I want to do. Sometimes it's just really important to start doing something even if you're not that good at it and just fail. Immediate failure tells us, oh, this is what doesn't work, and then it allows us to figure out other solutions to something. Speaking on the topic of goals, before you plan your goals, evaluate your why. I have had so many issues this past year doing things for the wrong reasons, and that was because I never evaluated my why. We do a lot of things because we simply just want to feel loved, but then you might realize all I need to do to feel loved is truly invest in my relationships. Only tell people your current and at most, your next step. The main reason for this is sometimes you might have a huge goal. Let's say it's to get into this specific college, and when you tell other people about it, you run the risk of having your dreams be killed prematurely. I feel like the remedy to this is telling people you really trust and people that are open-minded about your future plans. Quantity of practice is more important than quality when it comes to side passions. What I mean by side passions is, for me, for example, learning how to code is one of my side passions, but I make sure every single day to literally like write one line of code. It's just those small daily actions that really affirm identity. So if I code every day, even if it's just one line, I can call myself a programmer. Frequency is more important than quality sometimes. Living in a boring small town is an incredible opportunity for your teenage years. So I love living life by the model that everything happens for you, not to you. I live in a pretty small town in Massachusetts, and I'm honestly really appreciative of that. I'm really appreciative that I'm like in cold weather. It looks ugly most of the time because if I was like living in Southern California right now, I would have so many distractions and so many things pulling for my attention. But because the weather is so ugly outside, I can be inside, work on the things that I have to work on at this age. Just reframing things as serving you is so important, and I honestly do see living in a small, seemingly boring town as a really good benefit. If you are not currently living your dream life, you can at least live it at a small scale right now. I really think that the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions, and a lot of the things we think that we want externally truly just bring an internal sense of whatever emotion you want. For instance, when I'm older, I really want to have a friend group that just makes me laugh. So then I was like, wait, let me just start laughing now. So I've literally just noticed in the past week, I've laughed so much more. And because I've started laughing now, I'm already experiencing the emotions that I want in my dream life. School should not be your primary place for learning. If school is the only place you learn, you will never learn. Back in middle school, I was honestly not the best kid in school. I never really had that confidence that I was smart. And it was only really when I started learning things on my own that I recognized this. What I mean by learning stuff on your own is finding stuff you're passionate about, reading books about it, podcasts, courses online, because I think that when you learn about the real world, everything that you learn inside of school starts to make sense, and like why it's important starts to make sense. Get multi-generational mentors. I think it's just really good to diversify the people that are like speaking into your life, because sometimes like young people do stuff that bites them in the butt later on in life, and I feel like older people can see more of a long-term scope and projection of how that might affect you. I don't know, just be aware of the biases of people that you might be looking up to. Do not lose financial freedom for the illusion of being rich. I think redefining what financial freedom is super important and what you want to spend your money on. And I realized like my current spending habits are not gonna fade like once I'm older. Like this will bite me in the butt, so I'm fixing it now. You sacrifice mental freedom for the illusion of looking rich. An add-on to that tip is buy tools, not toys. Thinking about just like what you are buying and how that will be a long-term investment. And it doesn't have to be like a direct investment. Like for instance, let's say you're a student and you buy a new MacBook. I like to call that an investment because if it will make your school workflow faster, it will pay off in the long run. Do not take self-care and balance advice from a person that is miserable. So what I mean by a person that is miserable, like in terms of self-care, is like they will work super hard for a few days and then they will just like binge Netflix for 3 days, go on a random trip, and then come back, like have to get their whole life together. Pretty much just like make sure that the person you're taking advice from has a model that you actually like and is also like living a similar lifestyle to you. I recently learned to not hire for skill, but hire for values. I'm gonna go over this quickly because I don't know how helpful it will be to other people right now, but definitely made mistakes in the past where I've just hired for skill for the YouTube channel and not values. Values are really hard to change, but if someone has values of like hard work and to improve themselves, they can pretty much learn anything. Documentation is the cure to aging. I don't even know if I'd say the cure to aging, but it just makes your life so much more sweet. And what I mean by documentation, journaling, vlogging, literally any type of media that someone can look at like as a reflection of your life. The reason why I think this is so important is it just expands time. Like if you journal, like let's say what happened the last 60 minutes, that has now turned into like a capsule of time that you can look back on. Beauty maintenance impacts your life quality. This is not going to apply to everyone. I cannot promise that. This is more just like for me, but I feel like I used to judge people a lot that went to the nail salon like very consistently, got their hair done. It wasn't something that I was raised up doing, but I found that it truly just does make me feel much more put together. It's something that like brings me a little ounce of happiness every day. And sometimes I think I do get out of touch with my like femininity. Like actually doing things externally does help me feel that internally. Use past data to influence your decisions in specific relationships. If you have not had fun with someone genuinely for the past 3 months, you should be thinking about that. Over time, I kind of just stopped going to all the group hangouts. I really just felt that it was my time to personally improve. Sometimes I think we expect the best in people and like how people are going to relate to us and that things are going to get better in a relationship, but we just don't look at the past data. I've kind of just been letting myself, I guess, think more statistically. If you have an ick about someone, either accept their flaw or don't invest more in the relationship. It's really hard to not like want to change people and to accept people's flaws because I definitely have flaws, you have flaws, and some are easier to accept than others. And a lot of times I haven't really tried to accept people's flaws, but I've tried to like hope it'll get better. That can create so much tension in a relationship when you have such a big issue with their flaw. If a relationship does not have enough strengths to overpower your ick, evaluate that now so you do not get resentful to them later. I've recently realized that without having a secure faith in my life, things literally crumble. So I'm a Christian. My relationship with Jesus is very important to me, and it can be difficult sometimes because I feel like a lot of, I guess, inner conflict because just like my fleshly desires is to live for myself, to do things for myself, to not listen to God. And it's like, how do I still do what I love, but also be aligning with God's mission for my life? So that's a challenge that I'm really focusing on in 2022 is to have God at the front seat of my life and also be able to be passionate about the things that I am passionate about, but it shouldn't overtake my life. On my Instagram, I'll be sharing 10 more lessons that I learned from 2021. There are 10 more lessons that are so vital that I didn't really have room to share in this video. You want to make sure you got those lessons. I swear, it'll save you just so much time and emotional energy. I'll see you guys in another one of my videos that the YouTube algorithm recommends to you.